Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Pond, awards editor of TheWrap. We're happy to have you here for our 2021 award season screening series presentation of Asya, which is Israel's entry for Best International Feature Film at the Oscars. We'll start by showing the trailer to the movie, and then I'll have a conversation with director Ruthie Prybar and actresses Alina Eve and Shira Haas. To our audience, please participate in the live chat on the right of the screen. And now, before I introduce our guests, here's the trailer for Asya.
Когда ты была маленькая, мы так засыпали с тобой. Только когда я пела, ты успокаивалась. Ложкой снег мешая, ночь идет большая.
Да, я
Тоже ты, малышка, не спишь.
Как муха.
Шперотлен. Спят соседи, бедные медведи, спит ты. Ты же знаешь, что нельзя смешивать лекарства со спиртным. Что случилось? Вика, тебе больно?
У них второй петуля.
Знаешь, что у них там между ног такое же большое удовольствие. Серьезно. Это единственное, что я от них получу.
So.
Welcome back. It's my pleasure to introduce director Ruthie Prybar and actresses Alina Eve and Shira Haas. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So, Ruthie, this is your first feature film,
Right.
and you know, quite a powerful movie to start out with. I mean, what led you to this particular story?
It's actually something very personal to me. 14 years ago, I lost my sister, and it took me years to. I still am going and rethinking about everything that happened during that time, and I've written a lot of stories and films regarding what happened. But I think when I started writing Asya, it was more about how I saw my mother and how she reacted in that situation. So I looked at how my mother was, and it was completely different from the way I reacted. And I remember at the time I would be by my sister's bed, and I would come over to the hospital, but I felt like I was not really there. I was not really present at the moment, and completely emotionally detached. And my mother was the complete opposite. She was she was able to be there for my sister and do everything she can for her, and feeling what she felt and allowing herself to break apart when she felt like she should. So I just had to sort of find a bridge from where I was to where my mother was, and this is how Asya came to my mind as a character that starts off completely detached from the situation she's in and having her daughter dying, and then become this wonderful mother, and she's able to be there for her daughter in the most sincere way possible. And
Right.
this is it really is about this transition that she goes through, and that they both, Asya and Vika, go through the film of finding one another and the very hard times that they're going through.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically, I think this movie sort of lives or dies on the two people in those roles, and we have two extraordinary actresses here. So what were you looking for when you were casting?
Well, I was looking for two actresses that could really that could really do just what was happening in the script. They had to be very authentic in their acting, and of course they both had a lot of challenges in the actual film. Like they had so much they had to do. Sheila and Alora, they have different roles, so each of them had to sort of sink into them. And I was looking for two actresses that looked alike, which it was something that was based in the script. I wanted two actresses that the age difference would not be very big. They would almost look like sisters. And when Asya would look at Vika, she would see this young woman that will never become the mature woman that she is, and the exact same opposite for Vika. And she looks at her mother and she knows she's not going to reach that point in her life. So the resemblance was very important for me, but I wasn't sure I was going to find what I was looking for. And I mean, I had such a great luck to have found these two wonderful actresses that did these two incredible roles.
Right. Well, Elena and Shira, what made you want to be part of this? Elena, we'll start with you.
Now I remember that I received the audition for this movie 2 weeks after my little girl was born, and the scene was written so strong and interesting and very contrast. It was two different scenes that's very, very kind of opposites to each other, but it's the one person, and it's very, very fun for actor to have something like this, very, very contrast in one person. So I really, really enjoyed it, and I really want to come to this audition. It was really just 2 weeks after the birth, so all my family was kind with me, and was in the audition. My husband was in the car with my 2 children and wait for me when I made the scenes. After this, 1 year later, when I first time read all the script, it was really kind of wow. I was really happy that I have gonna work with person that wrote something very, very complete, and something with really real transformation, the kind of spiritual transformation. Really. So I was really happy to do it.
Yeah, right. Shira, what about you? I know last time we talked, you said you were in tears at the end of the script. I mean, what made you want to be part of it?
I just read it and I just felt like I have to do it. Really, it was just every part of my body. I felt it. I told my agent as well. I was like, I need this role. Really, I was so moved by it. I remember also, like you just said, I was reading the script and I had tears at the end of it. And I always say that even though it doesn't seem like it on screen, but in real life, I'm not such an easy crier. And I just couldn't stop the tears. Also because I really felt a great honor to play such a complex and amazing character and to bring Vika to life. But also the whole script. I mean, the fact that it touches subjects like, of course, like grief and death and loss, but at the same time, it's written and being done with so much sensitivity and empathy and love, and the fact that I was reading it and I felt it's actually a story about life. I mean, I was so moved by the way it's written and by really the brilliant way Ruthie was writing it. So I really had this feeling. I'm sorry if it sounds like a cliché, but this urge to tell this story and to play Vika. So luckily for me, it happened. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, the two of you have such a wonderful relationship. Yeah, I mean, we feel years of history in every scene, even though they're not spelled out. How did say the three of you work together to create that beforehand?
Lots of rehearsals, lots of eating together and breakfast and lunch and dinners, and we spent a lot of time together, really. And it was such an immediate like connection also for me with Alona, really from the first like match, from the first like this chemistry test we've had. It was just like immediately, and also with Brucey, I mean, it was really an immediate connection, also because it worked like this, but also because all of us, and I think also the crew that and the rest of the cast, we really believed in what we're doing, and it just made us like our relationship to be so I mean, real. And we talk until this day. We have WhatsApp proof, and it is real. It's not like years like Rika and Asya, but it was a true bonding, at least on my behalf. So yeah.
Completely.
Right. I mean, Ruthie, how did you make sure that your actresses, you know, had that before you started shooting?
I have to say, like the first moment I saw them together, it was just so obvious that it was meant to be. They were going to be the Asians because I was looking for. And it's actually a funny story because the first time I met the two of them together, I was 9 months pregnant. I was sitting with my huge belly in front of me. And I saw them and I said, okay, now I can go and give birth because the film is going to be okay. I'm going to give birth because we meant to make the film before I became pregnant. But when I became pregnant, we were told that it was impossible to find an insurance company that would insure the production. So I ended up having the cast before I actually gave birth. And then I think part of the reason that we had so much time to sink into that script is because the film was postponed. So eventually we had, I think, more than a year that the casting was already set, and we got to know each other, and we got to talk so many conversations, not only about the script, but about our lives and our conflict and what we were going through. So I think Shira and Alona brought a lot from themselves into the film. So they are, it's them over there. It's not just us in Shira and Alona. And I think that's how two characters become real, when you put yourself into it.
Mm-hmm. Right. I assume you probably had to do, especially Shira, lots of research into degenerative motor diseases and exactly what that would entail. I mean, what was that preparation like for you?
Yeah, it was a long process of research. It's also all of us, I mean, did together, also with Alona and of course with Booty as well. It started with a lot of home research for me and self-research that I was doing alone on my computer, reading, getting references, interviews, whether it's fiction or real stories. And Ruthie and I as well, we went to see a doctor that gave us all the information possible to get and advised us in so many scenes and physical situations. And we also met a patient. And we just did as much as possible. It was, I mean, we also didn't shoot it in a chronological way. So it was very important for me, for all of us, to be very, I mean, to be so prepared and ready for the scenes, because you can shoot like suddenly a scene from the end of her because condition, and then an hour later at the early stage of it. And we also had this chart that every stage has its own color and every scene. I mean, at some point, Rudy could tell me scene number 20, and I was like, oh yeah, this is. I mean, it was really important for us to be specific and accurate in order to, as possible, right? In order to tell this story.
Yeah, right.
And I think also, I mean, Shira she needs to know everything. It's like everything. She needs to know exactly what's going on. How am I going to do that? We're very alike in that matter. So I remember we would sit together, and she would we would record like the way her hand moves, and we would send it over to the physician and say, okay, yeah, that looks good. And then she sent another day, and okay, you should do like this. And we kept on finding the way to make it look as realistic as possible.
Right. Yeah. Elena, what was the preparation like for you before you started shooting?
Yeah, I think one of the researches that maybe I made, it's a lot of speak with Ruthie about, really the dealing with the situation when someone very close to you is very sick and gonna die. So it was really kind of very important and gentle thing to speak about. So maybe this is one thing, but the second one is really, it was kind of another chart that was close to Vika's situation. It's really chart of how closer became Asya and Vika during the movie, during the story, because they really start really very far away from each other and became closer and closer, and every step is really influenced to how much they touch each other, which language they speak to each other, and so these details was very important. It was really was kind of planned how which level of how much closer we became, and because it was shooting, not shooting wasn't chronological. It was very important to know exactly which place scene exactly in this moment. So that was the main preparation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Ruthie, I mean, as a director who's making this movie, that comes from a real experience in your life, and you're also a new mother at the time that you're making it, how do you keep the emotional aspect of it from just overwhelming you while you're shooting this? Do you have to be able to step back and be sort of the calm director at times?
I think, first of all, there is a distance for me. It's based on a very personal experience, but the situation itself is very different from the one I experienced. I'm telling here about a mother and daughter, a young mother to a teenager, which is something that I was not, obviously, and they're both Russian immigrants. And I mean, I did have things that were not about me. It's not biographical by any means. So it made it easier to keep the distance and still feel what I needed to feel in order to direct this film. And also, of course, being a new mother was was a bit overwhelming, and having my 10-month-old son with his father, but coming sometimes to lunch on set. It was quite a challenge, but it brought so much of my new experiences into the film, because this is a film that deals with motherhood. So having these new experiences brought a lot of new things into my life and into the film.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to talk about the final scene between the two of you is absolutely devastating, but also really beautiful in a way. And I wonder, I mean, I'd like to talk to all three of you about that. Ruthie, for you, what were the keys to that scene?
It's the subject material of the scene is very dark. But when I thought about it, it was really something that had to be uplifting. Because although they depart from one another, this is the ultimate bond. This is the act of love, the biggest act of love you can do for someone. So I really wanted this scene to be, of course, sad, but also there's something spiritual about it, even in a way. So we were looking for a lot of lights and for really to feel the great love and intimacy. It needed to be very, very intimate. And I think we didn't have a lot of time to shoot it because we shot it with natural light, which was important for us. So it was just about finding the right moment and being in the moment. I think Anna and Sheila completely brought themselves into that scene, which was extremely difficult for them. And we didn't do a lot of takes because we just didn't need to. It was a magic. I remember I came out of we were only, I think, 4 or 5 people in the room, only the necessary, and the whole crew was outside. And I remember I went outside after the end of the take, and everybody was watching the monitor and just cried.
Right. Yeah. Well, for the actresses, what was that? What was that scene like to shoot, Shira?
Yeah, wow, very powerful. Yeah. Yeah, it all comes at the end of the movie to this scene. It's really the closure of everything. Like Ruthie said before, and of course, it's very dark, but there's a lot of light into it. I remember even in the script, in the description, it says something like Vika is looking at us as if she's saying thank you at the end of it, and I remember marker in this sentence because it's really, this is what it is. And it was really, I mean, it's even hard to explain how it was to film it. I mean, I think both Alona and I, we did some dramatic and emotional scenes in our project, but this one was very special. I mean, I remember after that scene, I don't remember if we shot it at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. So I don't remember if it was like a lunch break or on the car. But I remember I was listening after that scene, right? Like 5 minutes after that, like the crew talking about tomorrow. Like what we're going to do tomorrow and what we need to be done and everything like that. And it happens all the time on productions, right? But I was like, how dare you talking about tomorrow after what we just been through? Really, it just really stayed with me. I think with Alona as well. And we were back to the hotel, and we were all in Jerusalem at that time. And I remember, like, I had this feeling that stayed with me for a few days after. When I talk about it, I feel like a sense of it until this day, but in a good way, in an amazing way. Really, it was such a beautiful thing to go through. Really.
Yeah. Yeah. Elena, what about for you?
Maybe what can add about the story with maybe the rehearsals for the scene, it really was all the time kind of maximum 50%. It was impossible to make it more. So we talk a lot about it, but we never really can make the full rehearsals. Really saving all the inside feelings to the scene. So I really think that really helped us and made it possible because it's really something kind of one time.
Yeah, it all came together. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ruthie, as a first-time director, what were the biggest challenges for you in this film?
I think the biggest challenge wasn't about my being first-time director, but my being first-time mom. It's really such a challenge. So mixing that with making film with another baby in a way, it was really tough. And I remember I was nursing at the time, so I would wake up at 4 in.the morning, and I would nurse my child, and then I would get on a taxi and go to shoot, and it was just really crazy. I don't think I can't remember what happened. It was such an intense experience. And that was very difficult. I'm never going to do that again.
Never say never.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you planned to do that the first time, right? It's sort of life takes you by surprise.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, did you have a clear idea going in of how you wanted to shoot it and what you wanted it to look and feel like?
Yeah, I got in with a lot of things that I wanted to tell, and parts of what I wanted to tell are also in the image of how the film would look. And I knew from the very beginning that I wanted a film that finds beauty even in places that are not necessarily beautiful. And also this is part of the themes of the film, because I think Asya finds beauty in the hospital where there's a lot of sick people, and Vika, she finds beauty in the simple things later on, when she realizes that she's not going to have a lot of time to keep living. So she finds what means something for what is meaningful for her and what she needs in order to live this meaningful life as long as she does. So I think also in the way the film is shot, there's a lot of beauty inside of it, even in the most difficult situations, especially in the ending scene. And also when you start working with other people and with the cinematographer, with Daniela Novitz, she brought so much from herself also into the film. So it keeps changing. And, you know, once you find actresses, you finally see the faces of the film, and it completely changes the way you think about it, because I mean, there's a limit to how much you can imagine. So I'm very happy with the results and with what you see in the film.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, Elena, what were the biggest challenges for you in doing this?
You know, it's funny, but actually maybe to be Russian, it was a more challenge for me because I was born in Russia, but I live in Israel from my 14 age. When I already became Israeli, so I really forgot a lot of things of the behavior and kind of how people connect to each other. So it was really kind for me back in time, and to remember my mom and to remember the culture that I came from. Because today I have my Israeli husband and my children Israeli, and so it was kind of really trip to something that maybe if I would stay in Russia, I became something like this. So it was really, it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Shara, for you, what were the biggest challenges?
Well, obviously the physical challenge, but I think it's not only that, it's really the combination, because I think in life, of course, and in us specifically, it always comes together. And this journey of both Asya and Rika, I mean, really, as far as her physical condition is getting worse and worse, it goes the same way sync with their emotional journey of going back together and being more mature at facing the truth. So I think it's really, of course, the physical elements of that, but really about this journey of realizing, of accepting what's happening to you, and that it will come together as one with the physical challenges and what's going on, and to sync them together was pretty challenging. I mean, physically, of course, but also to understand it emotionally. I mean, how can you really understand it and dive into it? So we tried our best, and it was really, really challenging. And I tried to get as much as references as possible. One of them was also Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, when she talks about the 5 stages of accepting or saying goodbye to a person you love. And so I think, yeah, this is like to combine these two together and to bring it to the screen, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So what was it like to release this at a time where suddenly, you know, theaters weren't open? And it's like you went to the Tribeca Film Festival, but there was really no Tribeca Film Festival, but there was a jury, so you still were able to win.
Yeah, it was a very strange experience. I mean, we were all here in Israel. We were all in quarantine, staying at our homes. I was with my kids. I mean, we got the news of the fact that we won. It was in the middle of the night. I was preparing for an interview. They told me it was going to be an interview, and then they told me, "Oh, you won the Nora Ephron Prize." What? Okay, and then I go back, and my daughter just woke up, and I have to change the diaper. I mean, it's really a crazy experience to have a film that comes out and you actually don't see people's reaction to it. I've never seen it with like in a movie theater, but with people, with a crowd coming. I've never really experienced it and heard the mumble of the crowd. It's really obviously it's a shame, but it's a bittersweet experience because the film has been accepted really well, and I mean, I've gotten so many wonderful reviews and just opinions and people that call up and say how wonderful it is. So it's, I mean, it's doing well, and I'm happy it's doing well, and I hope theaters open up and we'll have a chance to watch it in the big screen soon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Elena, what has the experience been like for you?
Yeah, this year. And I just think it's a really difficult question. It was really so difficult here for all of us. So maybe I'm just really, in every side, like everyone, I try to see the grateful moments and what happened, and it may be, for when there was the screenings for the Israeli Academy, it was kind of opportunity to show it in this small kind of cinemas, like only for 20 people like this. And suddenly the screenings was really so much important and so much kind of miracle that really something happened, some interactions with the people that you can see it, and after this came to you, and you can see on their faces what they're feeling. So maybe really this moment I'm really grateful for them, and I really hope that we will have much more from them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Shira, obviously you had an unusual pandemic because you also had unorthodox, so you sort of became a TV star and an Emmy nominee during the pandemic.
Yeah, a very usual, normal year, right? Yeah, I think I'm still processing it in a way. Everything that's going on with Asia, of course, COVID and also, and everything that happened and still happening. And of course, we all wish it was different circumstances and situation, and that it will be possible to see it on big screens and to talk to you in real person and to hug Luke and Alona. I mean, of course, but at the same time, I feel like the fact that everything really came to me in the last month, I think, that everything kind of like happened in these times when I'm kind of like in my safe place at my home, it in a way helped me to process it, and maybe not to be too overwhelmed with everything that's going on, and to be really, really grateful. And I am so proud of Asia. Really, I cannot explain how much, and I love this journey that this movie is going through, even though the COVID and everything that's going on. And I just cannot wait to more people to see it online, maybe, but hopefully on screens at some point. So yeah, that's the way to look at it. I want to believe.
Right.
Yeah.
I also feel like in a certain way, at this particular time when we are losing so many people around the world, that a movie that is about death but also about acceptance, there may be some comfort to be found in the film at this point in time.
Definitely.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, Ruthie, is that something that you have thought about, or something you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it quite a lot because it came out in this situation to this world and the way we're living today. And I think part of what I wanted to say in this film is how we should all really look into our lives and find what's important for us and take our loved ones and be with them and be near them and hug them. And I think, okay, we can't necessarily hug everyone we can right now, but we do have our loved ones close to us, and we do want to keep them closer. And even if they're a phone call away, we're going to make that phone call now because we need to, because we want to. And I think this is a place in our lives where we make these decisions because we're pushed to the limit. And this is what happens to us and Vika. They're pushed to the limit, and it just makes them find one another. And I hope that we don't need to be pushed in order to find one another, that we do it without being pushed. And this is what the film talks about.
Yeah. Well, it's just a beautiful film, and so congratulations so far. Good luck with it in the Oscar race, and thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And to everybody who's watching, thank you for joining us. Be sure to take advantage of our free trial TheWrap Pro to be the first to know about upcoming screenings and events. And you can also check our screenings page at screenings.thewrap.com. So thank you all. This was great.